Goof Comic, the brand new monthly digital comic that showcases some of the goofiest and greatest cartoonists walking this planet, or any other planet for that matters. Check it out at goofcomic.co.uk. It's just £1 an issue, and for that you get 30 pages of funnies arriving every month on a Saturday. Use the offer that's available right now for the next couple of weeks from when we launch and get 2 issues absolutely free. That's just £10 for the year. Check it out now, goofcomic.co.uk. Welcome to the official Lakes International Comic Art Festival podcast. My name's Ian.
And my name's Nikki, bringing you the best in comics and graphic novels and updates from the festival.
Hello and welcome to Lakes International Podcast, episode number 31. My name's Ian.
And I'm dying.
That's your new name?
Yeah, it's called...
I'm dying.
I'm dying. I've got a cold.
I'm Danny Dyer.
It's my yearly cold.
Your yearly cold?
Yeah.
The annual cold?
The annual cold that means I have to sound a little bit sexy.
Who are you anyway?
On this. I'm Nikki.
There we go. We got
like
there.
People don't know. I've only got a cold.
Might be somebody's first listen.
Oh, hello. Whoever's first
There we
listen
go.
it is.
Today we've got a big episode about Macc Pow 2018 that we went to.
Yes, we did. That's why I got this, the convention lurgy, I think it's
I
called.
don't think that happens for a day.
Pretty certain that's what I've got.
No, you're just weak. So, before we do that, we've got a couple of books to review.
Yep.
The first one is Escaping Wars and Waves, Encounters with Syrian Refugees, drawn and recorded by Olivier Kugler. Mm-hmm. Give us a blurb.
I will do in my throaty voice
Okay.
moment. In 2016, Razan, a fashion designer from war-torn Kobani in Syria, travelled with his family in a boat to the Greek island of Kos, holding his 8-year-old niece Rocca on his lap, with his watercolours in his backpack. Their house had been ransacked, his artwork destroyed, but it was when he saw the destruction of his neighbour's orchard where he used to play as a child that he couldn't hold back. You can rebuild a house easily, but the trees.
So this is a book about the viewpoints of individual Syrian refugees at different points throughout the crisis, at different parts, different camps, different countries, and how they're dealing with the situation, how they're feeling at the time.
Yeah, how they're living.
Yeah, in
just
some
trying
ways.
to get through, yeah.
What professions they had, what they're doing now, again, to deal with life and live. And this could have been written as a book, but I don't feel, without the art, it wouldn't have had that same impact of understanding.
Well, you've got faces. That's the thing, I think. You can see the people.
He said he took pictures of all the people to then draw them.
Yeah.
So we've got an accurate representation of how these people are looking at the particular moment.
Yeah, so you can put the face to the name. I think it makes it much more powerful.
But again, because of what he's done, using the words and the drawing and the way the words are dotted around the picture, it makes it, again, it draws your eyes in rather than just reading a book about somebody's thoughts, somebody's opinion. Yeah. So they're sort of using the art to really bring that message home, I feel.
No, I think you're right.
Definitely one to have a look at. It's very interesting, content-wise, but also emotional-wise, I suppose, is probably a way to look at it.
Well, yeah, you're getting to... It could be any one of us, that's the thing.
Oh, yeah, it could.
In different circumstances, we could be these people, and that's how I think the art and everything brings it home to you. Is these people, you walk past people like this in the street, and it could be you.
And I suppose you think about it, you walk past these people in the street who've been through this and are now out of the situation.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know what they've gone through.
And we're sat here, blah, 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 I don't want these people in our country, blah, blah, blah.
That's it, isn't it? But we're not seeing them as individuals, are we? And
No.
this book shows you as individuals, and that's what's powerful about it.
So check that out, Escaping Wars and Waves. The next comic, As If by Magic, he was on the last episode.
Who would have thought?
Mr. Matt Garvey is back again with Red Rocket Comics.
I can't say that because of my infliction.
Red Rocket Comics.
That's how it would be. I have a Jonathan Ross infliction. That would be terrible.
Written by Matt, interior art by Graham Puttock and Andy W. Clift, and the covers by Michael Ray. Straight away, Andy Cliff's artwork jumps out because it's so stylized, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I've got nothing to... Oh, no, I can read it. I've got a bit of blurb here on my computer screen.
You got some blurb. I haven't.
What a dark and stormy night. Shut up!
Make me cough. Sorry.
Sounds like you had 40 a day for 10 years.
Just asthma and a cold. Carry on, dear.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for supporting me there.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, should we start again?
I've hurt my face laughing. Carry on.
Should we start again?
Yeah.
On a dark and stormy night, Larry... Stop laughing!
My face hurts.
Larry Xavier, a.k.a. Red Rocket Comet, is woken by his old arch-enemy's Dark Skull. This is what happens when two old adversaries meet for one last time. Come on, that was amazing.
What was that accent at the end? One last time.
It wasn't an accent.
Okay, it wasn't an accent. Was that creating atmosphere?
So it follows... It's like the adult version of The Incredibles.
Wow, I wouldn't have drawn that.
It follows an old hero.
I'm
who's
really
out
not
of
drawing
work.
that conclusion between The Incredibles and
well, that's
Red
the
Rocket
way I'm
Comet.
putting it. That's the way I'm putting it down.
I think you're on your own on that one.
And it's his last meeting of these two, hero and enemy.
Yeah.
Good guy, bad guy.
Years later.
Whilst they're in the old age, where they stop
They're
being
not that
heroes.
old looking.
Well,
I mean, they're older. Come on.
They're too old to be heroes. They're not sprightly anymore.
Well, they're not. Yeah.
They're not bouncing around like nobody's business.
Okay.
And it's what happens with that meeting, but it also goes into the past about how they were when they were superheroes
at the height of their
villains
game
back then. The really interesting thing that I enjoyed about this comic was it starts as a black and white comic.
Yeah.
And then for the where they go in the past, it uses Andy's artwork, which I say jumps out and goes into a very 60s. Well,
it
50s,
goes like
40s.
a comic strip.
Yeah,
from
like a
that
really
time.
old era comic strip.
Yeah, it fits it perfectly.
And that jump really jumps out and makes a massive difference to the story.
It takes you back from the grittiness of
where
they are now, which that artwork is amazing, to when it, like it is a proper comic from the 50s, 60s. And it takes you right back there to all like the Pows and the Bams. And it's brilliant.
And the story works its way through superbly. So,
no spoilers, mister.
I'm not going to.
Don't spoil
Matt is definitely improving consistently with his work. Everything he comes out is just better and better. And this one, especially as a one-shot, as opposed to having to worry about buying a series, it stands out as the best he's done. And it is... I don't want to...
Don't spoil it.
I don't want to constantly kiss Matt.
Are you kissing Matt again?
But it is brilliant.
It is a fantastic comic.
And the artists as well match. I mean, that's a style. It's not just about writing a comic. It's also choosing the right artists for the job.
Yeah, it's got to tell the story properly. And it tells Matt's story properly. Yeah.
It's definitely done that. So good work, Matt. Go and check it out at mattgarvey.bigcartel.com.
Yes.
So, Macc Pow.
Macc Pow,
we went to Macc Pow.
We did. I got a cold from there.
We're not going to talk about your personal feelings
my personal journey.
We'll do that on the other side.
Let's
just talk about Macc Pow itself.
Do it. Bring it on.
So it's in Macclesfield.
It's not.
It is.
Wow.
It's at the town hall.
Never been there before. It's very pretty, Macclesfield.
You didn't really see much of it though. To be fair.
saw a cobbled street.
You did.
And the town hall. It's very pretty, and I sat outside
nice
and saw a church.
Yeah, it was nice. It's mainly set in one big room, obviously within the town hall, full of guests. Some of those that we chatted to. Lew Stringer was there.
He was.
Certain friend of yours, Nick Brokenshire, was there.
He's my best friend.
We'll talk about him in a second.
He doesn't know this.
Tor Freeman, Emmeline Pigeon.
He had to endure me.
Rick Eades, obviously Lex International Comic Art Festival. Jacob Phillips was there. Dr. Sarah was there. Let's talk about Dr. Sarah first.
She was lovely.
So she was sat next to you, stood next to you.
Yes.
And what was she?
She had...
what was she not selling?
I know. She was giving away free comics. Nothing like someone sitting next to you giving away free comics to get you in the mood to spend money on mine. No, she'd it was people that come over from Bangladesh, and how they integrated into our society basically through art however they wanted to depict it, if it was photos or stories or artwork, and just how, how they are finding living here, basically. So it was very, very interesting. I mean, she's going to go on to do another one working with dementia patients now.
Okay.
So it's very important work, and she was brilliant. And the comics were amazing.
No, you two chatted quite a bit, didn't you? Just sort of next to each other.
We ate sweets.
You ate sweets?
Yeah.
Was that it?
No. She was lovely.
So let's just briefly, what I mentioned, let's talk about Nick.
My best friend Nick.
So, no one else is going to be able to do this, by the way. You've lost your chance now. So what did you do to poor Nick?
I shouted "Oi!"
Oi!
Across the room because he wasn't doing anything right then, and I just thought I would ask for a free picture that he should draw me. And
obviously, because he's charging them, he said, "Of course, I will charge you such and such for me to do a commission for you."
Sorry, a bespoke one.
Bespoke.
Because I gave him some ideas. It was just like a little challenge, and no money passed hands.
You are such a flirt.
I didn't flirt.
Such a flirt.
I was not flirting. I was just chatty, I think you'll find.
Of course.
And he's such a lovely man.
So what did he do for you?
He did a fantastic Princess Mononoke picture for me. And it's framed and it's up. Instantly. Was framed the next day. It's amazing and I love it. Lucky me.
You're also next James Chapman.
I was.
Who was...
He was brilliant.
True gentleman.
He was lovely.
He was hilarious in what he's selling. The work that he was selling, which we've got an interview.
He told me where the strawberries were as well, so
And he was selling comics about how animals sound in other countries
in different languages,
which was really because you never think.
No, that a dog in Romania would say ham.
It's weird. But no, he was such a personality behind him, such a friendly guy.
He was
so
lovely.
Funny.
I was so lucky, actually, to be between Sarah, who was absolutely lovely, and James, who was absolutely lovely. It was a fantastic, comfortable, snug... It was like being surrounded by a snuggly duvet of loveliness. So, yes.
It was quite interesting, actually, which, again, we'll talk about how you felt a bit afterwards. But there was a new guy, Almost Opera as it is, promoting his Kickstarter. And how he felt that we were doing all professional. He didn't want to come and talk to us.
We weren't. It was our first go. I was very nervous, but you just smile a lot.
Yeah, you just go with it, don't you?
Yeah.
The festival itself, in another room as well, they had a room where they were doing a couple of panels, but also playing old TV shows.
We had Batman in there and
they had the original Turtles. They had a Transformers movie.
Yeah, they were playing Gravity Falls and things for the kids.
Which was, brilliant. Obviously ideal for us because we had a pair of kids who were bored.
So teenagers, off you go and watch
stuff
all day.
But I've not seen that before.
It was a great idea
in terms of the films and the cartoons and stuff.
Yeah, it was a fantastic idea.
Yeah, really brought them in.
Yeah,
so absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, gave them somewhere else because kids will get dragged around with their parents and maybe not always wanting to do stuff like that. So a little area where they can feel kind of like it's their place is nice.
And probably the other good thing about the show, there was only 2 tables selling old comics - Funko Pops.
Yes.
So it was mainly all creators. Original creators in some way, shape or form.
Yeah. And they were all so lovely.
Yeah.
It was like a family.
You swapped a few comics as well.
I did.
Yeah.
Me and Nick swapped a comic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, what was her name? Tell me what her name was.
Oh, now you forget.
I'm not good with names. I didn't remember what Sarah's name was. I sat next to all day.
I can't remember. We've got a book and we're going to review it next episode. I think we'll probably episode after that we'll be doing that.
Oh, but yes, I swapped books with her.
Yeah.
She was lovely. I didn't swap any more books with anyone.
Did I? Just a couple.
I think it was just a couple. But Swapsies is brilliant.
But the day was really fun. Certainly a lesson for us on selling and also just how it works as a con for a whole day. Because we don't generally, other than the lakes, we don't spend a full day. We just go for a few hours.
Exactly,
So it's interesting to see it.
Yeah, how it works and everything. Yeah, it was very good.
No, really enjoyable. You've done a report on your blog, so you can go and check that out as well. And we've actually got a load of interviews from the event itself.
I know, I didn't get to do any of these.
No, it was all me.
So I missed out on all of the interviews.
They're not as interesting because it was just me.
Oh no, don't say that. I'm sure they are.
I'm not, they're amazing. So we're going to let you have a listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going to come back and talk about how you did on the day.
How did
and
I
your
do?
feelings and so forth in regards to...
It's like a therapy session.
It is. It's like a therapy session.
Room for one lawgiver, please.
Ah, Judge Dredd. Or is it just Dredd? Fancy seeing you here.
Catwoman, you also here for the Comic Art Festival or a stint in the ISO cubes?
Of course. I love to see my makers in action. Ah! Watch it, Greenie.
Careful, Hulk. In this town we have a saying. Once is a coincidence, twice is a booking offence.
I think you booked the events on the website.
Huh?
ComicArtFestival.com. It's got all the perfect information about the event.
Yeah, so's my fist. Druck, I'm out of here. Not standing around with those 4 tortoises that have just entered the building. Cowabunga, dude!
Find out all about the Lakes International Comic Art Festival and booking information at www.comicartfestival.com.
I'm here with Nick Brokenshire.
Howdy.
How are we doing? It's been about a year since you were last on the show.
Yes.
Roughly?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah. Just a bit before the lakes, I believe.
Quite a bit's happened.
Yes.
So what have you been up to comic-wise?
Well, I've been working on a long-form graphic novel called She's Not There, which is yet another 6 months before I finish it. So, so no one's going to see that for a while. But in the meantime, I've been doing little jobs for IDW on their Star Wars Adventures line.
Exciting.
Yeah. So they asked me if I'd like to pitch a story. So I initially pitched a Yoda thing, and they said, "Well, we like it, but you're not allowed to use Yoda."
Oh.
I know. So then they said, "Why don't you try one of the background characters?" So I said, "How about IG-88? Because everybody loves that guy."
But he does nothing.
Yeah, he just stands around and looks menacing. So the trick was to try and skew an IG-88 bounty hunter story for kids.
Okay. So no killing, I'm guessing.
No killing, yeah, just catching. Yeah. So that was fun, and I've just finished my second story for them.
Brilliant.
About Max Rebo. So lots going on.
And Blues Harvest. We're talking. You've been doing quite big things with them.
Yeah, we had a really mad 6 months. We had a lot of bookings, and prominently one in Disney, Euro Disney. In fact, I don't think it's called Euro Disney anymore.
Disneyland Paris, is it?
Disneyland Paris,
is,
yeah. So we did that, and that was incredible. So hopefully they'll have us back, because they treated us like kings, you know.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was really lovely.
So was that in an event, was it, or what was the reason behind it?
No, it's really weird. Like they have in Disneyland Paris, they have like outside of the actual park, they've got like a little. Well, it's kind of like a town. So you've got your hotels, and then you've got restaurants, and so basically when you're not in the park, you go and have a bit of a nightlife and stuff. So
they take your money in the evening as well as
yes, yeah, exactly, for the adults particularly. And so there's a place called Billy Bob's Country Western Saloon.
Okay.
And it's this gigantic saloon. So it's obviously like modelled after like a cowboy movie saloon, but it's lots of levels. And so in the top level there's a massive restaurant, but it's all wood. It's incredible. It's an incredible building.
Yeah.
And then downstairs is an enormous venue which fills up with people. So they want entertainment acts. So like the acts before us were like full-on circus acts, you know. So it's quite a big place. So they heard of us and they said, "Would you like to try out for the saloon?" And we went, "Sure." And it was amazing.
Well, check out. You've got loads of tweets up and
yeah, we do. Yeah,
Instagram posts on it, haven't you?
Yeah, on the Blues Harvest website as well. There should be a bunch of pictures.
Brilliant. Well, good luck with selling today.
Thank you, and you, and you guys.
Yes. She's over there staring at us, pulling a face.
Relax. It's gonna be good.
It's fine.
Oh.
She's never relaxed. Anyway, thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you.
Right, I'm here with James Chapman. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks.
You are sat next to Nikki today, so you are in a lucky position.
A very lucky position, yes.
Tell us a bit about your work.
So I do work that's like animal sounds in different languages. I try and tell people about how much fun they are and the variety you can find in it. So to me and you, a dog goes woof woof. That's a great answer. But
Thank you.
Yeah, if you go around the world, here's a poster of how to sound like a dog in 14 languages. If you go to Romania, they go ham 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 ham. And if you go to China, they go wong 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 wong.
It makes sense.
Yeah. It's just a fun variety you get. The way the world looks at the same idea, but in a different way.
So is that actual factual?
That's fact, yeah. We've got heavy rain. So when it's raining, you say it's raining cats and dogs.
Yeah.
If you go to Denmark, it's raining shoemakers' apprentices.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, right? It's weird.
This is intriguing me now.
Yeah.
I like this.
I've caught you. I've hooked you. So this is what I do: is I take things that we all take as just culturally. We all agree on in the UK or in the English language, and see how the rest of the world looks at it. So, Die Hard is called Die Hard to me and you, but in Spain it's called The Glass Jungle.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
now, films, I've heard a lot about films. They're funny.
Yeah.
They are funny too.
Yeah.
The dog, however, really intrigues me.
Yeah.
I've never even considered that would be something else.
So, a chicken. You grew up learning in school. You learn chickens go cock-a-doodle-doo.
They generally do.
The most ridiculous animal sound. Around the world, you can get cocorico is in French.
Makes sense.
Yeah. That's my Japanese.
That's amazing.
Chicken impression.
I'm intrigued by the title there, How to Sneeze in Japanese.
What's in Japanese?
One all about?
So, it's the same with everything that people do, all the sounds people make. So, laughing, crying, eating, drinking, whatever sounds you associate, they're different. And sneezes are part of that as well. So, let's get the sneezing played. If you're in Russian, you sneeze apchi. And in Japanese, hakushan. It's like an exaggerated sneeze sound, like all dads do. Japanese dads. Hakushan!
I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Right, so if people aren't here at Macc Pow today, where can they find your work?
They can find my work at www.soundamals.com. The sounds of animals, soundamals.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
How are you finding it?
Nerve-wracking, now leave me alone.
We're here an hour or so into it.
Are you really interviewing me?
I am currently recording. Why not?
Oh, there's so many reasons why not.
So, how's it been so far?
I've sold 2.
It's been very quiet, to be fair.
And a print and a key ring.
Yeah?
So there you go. I haven't made my money up yet.
No,
it's fine.
It's fine. It's starting. First time
Everyone's said how beautiful they are, which is lovely. And but I'm not very good at this selling malarkey. So yeah. I keep trying.
I'll jump behind there for a bit when you're ready for.
And you think that's going to make a difference to you?
No, I'm thinking of you.
Exactly. I'm fine at the minute.
That's fine.
Let's have a break. We have our sandwiches.
Well, I think the table looks great.
Thank you very much.
Your work looks great.
Obviously it does, because you're not biased at all. So that's fine. You're supposed to say it looks great. So yeah.
You did a swapsy as well earlier.
I did do a swapsy with Nick Brokenshire. He's my friend.
Star Wars comic
for one of my comics. That's perfectly fine. Trade that. Signed to me, of course.
Well, that is essentially like a sale, because I was going to go and buy one, so
That's kind of like a sale. Yeah.
Win-win.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Right, with Marc Jackson, who is the creator of this event, Macc Pow. It's probably the best way of saying it.
Yeah, I like that.
The host,
the
runner,
host,
the guy,
the man in charge.
So, why Macc Pow? Why did you start? Is it 3 years now it's been going?
Yeah, 3 years. So basically, I was approached by the Barnaby Festival. The Barnaby Festival is Macclesfield's 10-day art festival, and which is currently running, and we're actually in the last weekend of it. And they asked me to do something for the festival, and I went and had a bit of a think. And around the time I was thinking, I got introduced to Aileen McAvoy, who is one of the ladies behind the wonderful Comic Art Festival in the Lakes. It turns out that Aileen lives in Macclesfield. And so we met up for a little coffee and a chat, and just talking about the Comic Art Festival and just Barnaby and comics in general, I just suddenly thought, I wonder if Macclesfield could have a little comic event. And I only thought that was quite a good idea. I made a few contacts over the past few years and dropped them a line and kick-started it with the great Lew Stringer, who's here today, and it kind of went from there. First year we had 12 comic artists, and this year we've got 40.
Brilliant.
So,
filled the room up, that's for sure.
Yeah, it really is. I wanted a real mixture of amazing creators with all different kinds of visuals, something for everybody, and to show people just what comics can look like. They don't just look like this. They're not just superheroes. It's not just the Beano. These things are all great, but there's all these other little things that sneak in between. Yeah.
So you're launching Goof today.
We are indeed.
What's that all about?
So Goof is billed as Goof, the online comic for everyone, comics for everyone. And basically Goof is an online monthly comic that harks back to the old days of comics, of getting a regular comic through your letterbox, but with a modern twist. So basically you subscribe to it online. You then receive a link every month with the new comic on a Saturday, the best day to get a comic, and 25 plus creators.
Now, can I do my sales pitch here?
Go on, go for it.
Surely this is really expensive.
Not at all, Ian. I'll tackle you there. It's actually for £1 a month.
£1.
You get a 30-page comic with a feast of funnies, all kinds of comics by all kinds of different creators.
So, Nate, what are some of the creators that are involved?
We have Tor Freeman, we've got Lew Stringer, we've got Lorenzo Montatore and Jeannie Espinosa from Spain, who are also here at Macc Pow today. We have got I've contributed a comic. My daughter Nancy has contributed a comic. Rick Eades and Dick Vincent, they've all contributed comics, and all these amazing different styles that I'm really proud that it's all come together, and it looks fantastic.
Brilliant. So where can people?
So people can sign up for it at www.goofcomic.co.uk. If you sign up in person, which probably isn't going to work with this because this is going to be next time, you'd actually do it on the Goof launch. You get the 12 issues for £10, so you save that £2, so you can then go and invest that in somebody else's comic. And
Nikki's.
Well, yeah, of course. And there's more than half of the creators are in this room today, which my romantic vision of it is that somebody will sign up, have their iPad, read the comic, and then go and find a new creator who's in the room and maybe even get a drawing from them, introduced to their work and meet them in person. I think that's the first for comics, that instant, direct engagement with on that amount of creators at the same time. It's been something that's been in progress since sort of early this year, and there's a lot of hard work's gone into it behind the scenes.
Good luck with it.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
We'll say live on air. Thank you for the support you've given Nikki with her comic.
And it's a great comic. It really is. I think it's again showing another style, another kind of way of presenting a comic, which I think is what people need to see. So
Thank you very much, and good luck today.
Thank you very much, Ian. Thank you. Good man.
There you go. Cool. We're here with Jake and Phillips. How are we doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Good. Right, so the reason I really want to talk to you, which we reviewed on the podcast, was Jack and Lucy.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that comic, because to me it's just an amazing piece of not just art, but something that's really important to young people.
So it was a lot of fun because we actually worked with young people in Oldham. We ran a workshop where we had kids come in and watch a piece of theatre done by Oldham Theatre Group, and then the kids then broke off into workshop groups and discussed the issues brought up in that. So it was a lot about suffering from depression and coming out as a teenager and that sort of thing. So we then sat in with the kids and listened to what they had to say about these topics. And then Rachel went away and wrote a script trying to incorporate all these sort of things into the story, which turned out amazingly.
The story is so tightly well put together, it really is. It's so few pages realistically.
Yeah.
It does what it needs to do.
Yeah, it was good for the draw. It's so dense that it's £9 a page.
Yeah.
And there's not any real breathing room in it. So but the way that she paced it is it fits really well within those 10 pages.
How did you decide on the colouring?
So
it is almost one sort of shape.
Yeah.
Colour almost.
Basically, a lot of it was to do with time frame, and we had. I didn't have time to colour it full colour, but it actually turned out working really well because we used, I'd say one single colour and then a secondary colour for the sort of not imaginary, but when they're in their own heads, and it's sort of so it divided it up quite nicely to show that, which ended up working really well.
So what other projects? You got any projects on the go at the moment?
I've got a few bubbling away. I'm doing some just more straight illustration stuff, some DVD covers, that sort of thing. But I've got a few comic books sort of like on the horizon. So I've got a French book which is sort of in the works, and a few other things I can't. A bit early to really talk about, but yeah, I got about 3 things like bubbling away at the moment. Yeah. So
where can people keep on top of your work then? Where online?
Mostly just on Twitter.
Yeah.
I've got a portfolio online, but mostly Twitter, Instagram, Jacob Phillips illustration, pretty much everywhere. So
superb. Thanks very much.
Nice, thank you.
Well, with Elanaor Crewes, how are we doing today?
Yeah, really good thing.
So we've got the book here, The Times I Knew I Was Gay. What's the premise behind? Without reading the title too obviously.
Yeah, it's a bit of a, does what it says on the tin kind of book. It's a completely autobiographical piece. It's a graphic novel, but stylistically it's more like illustrated prose.
Okay.
It just follows my life as I look back after coming out at 21 and saying, this is really great, why didn't I come out earlier? So it just came from being at university and being out and talking to my friends about, I was kind of gay back then, and I was kind of gay like this, and then all these stories were coming up that I just thought, this could be a zine, and so it started out as a zine, which I sort of around London, and then turned into the book.
Was it helpful in any way? Did you think it sort of assisted you in, dealing with?
Yeah, it was a strange project to do because I know my life. Yeah. I couldn't sit down and say, I wasn't going to sit down and be like, okay, so chapter 1, I'm going to be this age and that age, and these are the exact things that happened then. I was kind of just writing from memory, so I'd begin writing and then things would come up that I thought, oh wow, I hadn't planned on that being in the book, but actually that works really well. Okay. So it was interesting in the sense of just, you never really have to look at your life in the idea of making it really clear and accessible to other people. So I would write something out and be like, wow, this makes no sense to anyone else because they don't know my family or they don't know who these people are. This is really confusing. So you had to sort of step back and say, this is my life, but I'm also making it accessible. So it was.
How do you find comics help with issues like this and other issues? Because there seems to be quite a lot of people bringing out similar comics.
Like Tilly Walden.
When you read them, I personally feel that comics more than a book allow you to see more into that world of the person. Do you think that's the case? Or?
Yeah, I think so. I think that comes from, as I just said, artists like Tilly Walden, she's been doing this for a few years. She really inspired my work. And I think that when you're already experiencing something outside of the norm, you're probably not going to write it like everyone else. So a graphic novel really does aid that, because if you don't know how to say something, you can draw it. And I think I play on that quite a bit in my work. You have 2 levels to translate, not just I have to be eloquent and write this properly.
So if people are interested in your book, where can they find it?
So you can get it directly from my publishers, who are called Good Comics. Okay. They've got a big cartel site. If you're in Brighton, you can get it at Family Store. Okay. If you're in London, you can get it at Gosh. Orbital, there's some...
Quite a few places. Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Cheers. So I'm here with Rick Eades. Tell us a bit about your work.
Well, I generally do funny illustrations and comics, really. I'm in the new Goof comic, which is
okay, brilliant.
Debuting today. A little comic in there called 2 Wizards. Just try and do fun things, really. It's more aimed at younger kids, really, my kind of work, really.
The thing that jumped out to me when I look at the table and just talked about was the Choose Your Own Adventure comic. Where did that come from?
That's part of my childhood, the whole Choose Your Own Adventure and fighting fantasy thing. So I've always wanted to do a comic based around that, so that's what I've done,
Did you find it a challenge to create? Or
it's a little bit tricky, but it's fun to do. So it's good. It's quite a challenge, but good to do. Do you plan to do any more? Or? We'll see how that one goes first. Okay. I think it's easier to do a straightforward comic than it is to do one of those. But well, it seems to be going down quite well. So
I'd like to see a full
thick.
You know.
I mean, there's only 20 odd pages in there, and that was hard enough to do. So,
have you got anything else planned for the future? Or?
A few things in the pipeline, but nothing concrete at the moment. So, nothing I can speak about really at the minute.
So, how did you get involved with the Goof comic?
Well, I've done this for the last 2 years, so I know Marc from this. Yeah, so this is my 3rd year here, and so I know Marc quite well. So
if people want to find your work, where can they see it online anywhere?
So I'm on Instagram, Twitter, at Rick Eades Comics. So that's it really. Not on Facebook anymore, but
who needs to be?
No, that's it.
Brilliant, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Thanks.
We're here with David Leach. How are we doing today?
All right, thank you very much. How are you?
Excellent, not so bad.
Good.
So tell us a bit about your history and career within comics.
Oh well, I've been a professional in comics for 31 years. Started back in 1986. I started.
Okay.
So nearly 32. That was working as Bob Godfrey's ghost artist. So Bob Godfrey did Rhubarb and Custard and Henry's Cat.
Okay.
I was his ghost artist for a year, so I did all of the Henry's Cats that appeared in print. So that was my first job after leaving college.
Right, that's a good way to
start. It was certainly a good way. And then after that, I went freelance and then started working. Oink came out in '87.
Yeah.
So I got my character Psychogran into Oink. And 31 years later, I'm still drawing the old bag. That's good fun. And then after that, being a cartoonist, doing silly humour stuff. Worked for Toxic, which is a British comic back in the 90s that Pat Mills started.
I remember reading.
So I did a thing in there called The Driver, and another thing called Din Ladies from Hell, which I'm bringing out in book form next month.
Superb.
That's very nice. And after that, the comic industry collapsed in this country, and as a humorist, I couldn't get any more work doing humour stuff. So I became a traitor to my arts, and I became an editor. Started working for Marvel UK as an editor, and now I work for Titan Comics as an editor. So I do graphic novels and new comics. So I edit things like Dan Dare, the New Prisoner comic, that's one of mine, Fighting American. I did Captain Kronos. What else have I done? Dan Dare, The Prisoner, doing those. Too much to remember. I also do all the old vintage collections. So I do all the old vintage collections of things like Flash Gordon and Mandrake the Magician and the old vintage Dan Dare stuff. So I'm doing all that as well. So it's relentless. 10 years I've been at Titan now.
So how have you seen the industry change over the years, other than obviously collapse?
Well, a lot more young, ugly people, which are, back when I started, everyone was incredibly handsome and good looking. But now we seem to be like full of really ugly, almost deformed people. It's quite horrific. You very rarely come across any attractive cartoonists anymore. It's despicable, really. That's what the main thing I've noticed, really. Also, comics seem to become stupidly expensive.
They do feel it at times.
Yeah. Well, I mean, without wishing to say when I was a young man, but when I was a young man, I could walk into Forbidden Planet and for £1 I'd get 4 brand new comics.
Right, okay.
25p each.
Yeah.
Now I couldn't get, I could barely get one for £5.
No.
Which is depressing.
It is really.
I don't understand it.
UK staples like 2000 AD, they're not too badly priced because you're getting a lot of content.
Yeah, but it's not 9p anymore, though, is it?
It's not, I agree with you.
In the good old days.
Back in the day.
Oh, when I were in the... It were marvellous.
I agree, it's a shame.
Yeah.
It's a shame because it's not as accessible.
No.
But then you've got things like the Goof comic, which is trying to be...
Yeah, that's very true.
Cheaper.
Yeah.
And I think
but then who makes money out of that? I mean, I think Marc's doing a brilliant job. I love him to bits.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you want to try and make a living as a cartoonist, it's almost impossible. It is almost impossible.
It's quite sad really now.
It is. It's very sad.
You've depressed me.
Well, I hope I have done so.
It's destroyed my day.
Which is why you need to buy one of my comics to make me laugh.
What did you do?
It's just destroyed destroyed the whole industry.
You asked me what I'd seen change in the comic industry, and I said that I felt that modern cartoonists are very ugly, but when we started, everyone was very good looking.
Don't lie to people.
Yeah. I'm on a podcast, for God's sake.
And he's gorgeous,
I am gorgeous, I know. Oh, geez, I know that. God, listen, this is, when you're this good looking, you know it, you work it. What can I say?
So where can people find your stuff online?
Online, they can buy, Psychogran's got 2 issues of her comic on sale on Amazon.
Right.
So issue 1's only 99p, and issue 2's like £1.49p.
Okay.
So you can download those to your telephones and computers, apparently. Digital. digital comics, and also
modern day,
there's a change. And she also appears in David Lloyd's Aces Weekly digital comic.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So that's where she appears. But I'm trying to do more stuff with print because obviously this digital thing is just a fad. It'll die out fairly soon.
It's never going to last.
It's never going to last. No, it's like talkies. They're not going to last. You know.
Super. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Nice to meet you.
Right, with Lew Stringer, how are we doing today?
I'm fine, thanks.
Excellent. So, how long have you been in the industry now?
Well, I've been working professionally now for 35 years this month.
You've been David Leach?
Just about, yeah, just by a few years. I started in the summer of 1983. My first professional strips were for Marvel UK.
Okay.
And a comic called The Daredevils. They were just cartoons that developed into strips. And I did Combat Colin and Robo Capers for Marvel and various other things. And then I was also working for IPC on a comic called Oink. Created a character called Tom Thug and Peter's Pimple. And over the years I've worked for Buster, Viz, Sonic the Comic, and Doctor Who magazine, and loads of different comics. Dandy, Beano, currently on the Beano. And also work for Toxic, which isn't the same Toxic that David Leach used to work for. It's a magazine, and I do a couple of pages for that every month. And also one for Epic, which is a kind of rival to Toxic. And there's a little strip in Doctor Who magazine, and Big Ego, who's in the Beano. Big Ego is the Beano's oldest character, which they recently revived. And it used to be the cover star of the Beano in the 1930s. And they've revived him for the 80th anniversary of the comic and asked me to write and draw new stories.
So how have you seen it change the industry throughout the years?
Oh, it's changed a lot, yeah. I mean, when I started out, there was quite a lot of opportunities for new people to break into the business. There are less now, but there are more opportunities to produce your own material because of digital printing and online comics and things like that. So there are ways into the business that way, you know. But it's changed a lot. I mean, I count myself fortunate that I'm still making a living out of the business. You know.
What is it? It's been your favourite. Was Beano in particular
the favourite one to work for?
Yeah.
Well, Oink in the 1980s, comic called Oink, because we were just given a lot of freedom on that to do within reason, obviously, because it was for kids, and also worked for Marvel UK in the 80s. But I enjoy everything I'm working on, really, and you know, I mean, it's great to be in the Beano because it's because of its legacy, you know, and it's so it's fantastic to be in there. But yeah, I mean, you know, I would say Oink in the 1980s was probably my favourite, but you know, everyone I'm working on is. I mean, I enjoy doing the little mini strip in Doctor Who magazine because I've got a lot of freedom on that as well.
Yeah.
So
obviously you've supported Marc for a few years with this event. Have you been here to Macc Pow before?
Yeah. This is the. I've been to every one, I think. This is the third one, isn't it? Yeah. So.
Well, he does class you as his hero. He quite happily says that.
That's nice to hear. Well, the good thing about having worked in comics for so long now is that I'm meeting people who read my stuff when they were kids in the 1980s and are now growing up and producing their own comics. And like Marc, you know, also doing his own conventions. So it's really good to meet them because back in those days there wasn't a lot of feedback. There wasn't the internet, so there wasn't a lot of feedback to hear. You know, the editors would say, "Oh, the readers like the work," but we didn't actually get to meet them. So it's nice to find them, you know, to meet these people and find out that the comics meant a lot to them, you know, which is quite gratifying.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
Cheers. So we're here with Sarah. So what are you here today showing?
I'm here with the Graphic Lives project. It's a project we ran. It's funded by the Heritage Lottery Fund. I worked with a group of Bangladeshi women just outside Manchester, and they all made a comic book about their life stories.
Okay.
So that was we went to a process with them about thinking about their life stories, visiting museums, looking at artefacts. Then they came back and used their mini tablet computer to make their own comic book.
So they made it themselves?
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. So I see.
So they could decide. So, for example, this one she used family photographs. She also done some of her own drawings. So they could decide what they wanted to do, and they could decide which language they wanted to use as well. Most of them ended up doing it in English because they wanted everybody else to be able to read it. Yeah.
Okay. And what were you hoping to
to get out of this? Is it more for them or just to show what these people are going through?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of twofold really. First of all, it's for the women themselves because they've never done anything like this before, and it was a really emotional process for some of them to sort of go through this. But yeah, it's also to tell other people about their lives, because you know, if you don't have contact with this sort of community, and even if you do, because I've worked with similar communities, but I learned things from doing this project that I wasn't aware of, so it's kind of just knowing more about other people's lives really and their experiences.
Brilliant. So where can people, if you've got anything online people can see the work on?
Yeah, it's all online. It's Manchester Metropolitan Universities. You can get through their website, so it's all online there. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
So we've got Jeff here, who's showing off the herd. Tell us a bit about the herd.
Okay, so general idea is you've got vampires in the Stone Age. So that's
quite possible.
Yeah, building on this concept that humans didn't evolve on their own. So you've got Homo sapiens and Homo vampirus, and they're evolving together. And of course, there's problems with that. So the herd relates to the human tribes that are treated as herds by the vampirus.
Okay, sounds intriguing. I must admit, you've got some of the art here that's going to be coming out in it. It's looking gorgeous, I must admit. Absolutely gorgeous. So you the...
So I'm the writer. I'm the writer. Yeah. So working with an artist who's producing some beautiful stuff, as you say. I think he's done a really good job on it. So we've got the first issue fully drafted out. That's what I've brought here today. And then some examples of more complete pages, which we, once we've finished everything else, working on some colour and ready for Kickstarter in October.
Have you produced other things before?
This is my first. No, this is my first go at it.
So what made you decide to go down the Kickstarter route?
Talking to people, just people's recommendations, and really what I want to do with Kickstarter is have a pretty much finished project. Something finished to put out there, and then use the Kickstarter to help and move forwards, finish off the colour, and be ready to go for issue 2.
Right, okay.
And so really be in a really strong position to then go forwards with issue 2.
Have you thought about stretch goals and so forth? Have you got some ideas?
So a couple of ideas on stretch goals. One of the things we're really keen to do is give people the opportunity to vampirus themselves. So not necessarily just to appear in the comic, although we are thinking about giving people the chance to have a character based around on them, a main character as well, not just a background character, but actually have an actual vampirus character designed as a one-off thing, drawn out by the artist and a company in there. So you will have your signed issue, your signed vampirus of you, what you would look like in that world. So that's one of the things we want to do with that.
So where can you find out more information about it prior to the Kickstarter?
Okay, so we've got floatingrockcomics.co.uk, which links then into the social media, gives you a bit more information on there, and provides lots of the concept art we're working on and lots of the other stuff we're doing.
That's really cool. Good luck with that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So it's obviously your work on this.
Yeah, mine. I've changed my hair colour since.
Well, her name's on the book, but really it was me.
No, shut the fuck up.
It looks just like you.
Yeah, I know that. Back when I had blonde hair.
So here with Emma Donnelly, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
Enjoyed the day so far?
Yeah, it's been really good.
Yeah?
Really good.
Tell us a bit about your book, Unseen.
Okay, so Unseen is a little bit of a personal, cathartic story for me. I'd just gotten out of a really, really big first relationship that had lasted like 6.5 years. And the book's sort of about finding myself and the perils of dating and, you know, just generally what it's like to be single or freshly single at like 24 and, you know, thinking about families and things. So, yeah, that's what it's about.
How did it make you feel while creating it?
Oh my God, it was so cathartic. I needed to get it all down on paper. And once I did, I'd sort of like felt much more refreshed and sort of realised that like I'd let a lot of it go. It's really great for like introducing to new partners because like it's sort of
it's like a what not to do checklist.
Yeah, it's sort of a, you know, this was all my baggage. You can read it. I don't have to explain it further. So
first week,
it's like a test almost as well, isn't it?
First week dating, you just give it like a manuscript, like a test.
Yeah.
So you're saying everybody should do this?
I think anyone who's had a really bad relationship and needs
list
to
your faults in advance.
What not to look for.
So where do you go from here then? Have you got other plans for another book? Or?
Yes, we've We lived over in Japan, me and my partner Jake. We lived in Japan for it was about 8 months for me and 3 months for him. Yeah, obviously everyone is. No, I'm joking. So I was going to sort of write about a lot of my experiences there. I did a lot of comics while I was there anyway, sort of about how I was feeling and the little experiences that I had. So I was going to collect them all together and sort of expand on my experience a little bit more.
Sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
So people are interested online, have you got your website or anything?
I do. I mostly use Instagram. That's my main one. So you'll find me across the board as Emma Inky. Okay. So Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, you name it, I'll be there as Emma Inky. So yeah, just read it all on there.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you very much.
So how's it gone? Yes, we're recording again. Getting towards the end of the day.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lovely. It's gone really well.
Yeah?
I was a bit worried that it wasn't going to go very well, but then Ian stepped in and sold more than me.
No, I don't think I have sold more than you. Maybe per hour, but not overall. Well, one thing being a creator.
I'm a little bit softer approach. I don't kind of just grab people as they go past.
Well, if they look interested, you've got to make them want to look into it. Doesn't mean they're going to buy it.
It's very true. So yes, we hit double figures in selling. This is a good thing.
You've made enough money to cover it.
To pay for Chardonnay.
To pay for the Have you enjoyed it?
Yes, I have.
Has it been a learning experience?
It's been, a big learning experience actually. But everyone, I was surrounded by lovely people.
You've had, I think you made a few acquaintances that you quite easily happily meet again and chat to. Yeah. And a group of good girls came as well.
They did, yes.
It was very nice
and they
to say
brought my books as
They
well.
did, thank you very much.
Yes,
So, successful day?
I think so, yeah. I really do. I thought the key rings would have gone, but they didn't. But the books did.
No, it's maybe not enough kids, or I don't know.
I don't know. I think the wrong thing for the kids, maybe. I
think we need to focus them as a different market.
Yeah, I think there's some little tweaks we need to do. And tea towels.
And tea towels.
Yeah, definitely a tea towel.
Let's see the cost first.
I want to do a tea towel.
Okay.
3 tea towels. I'll get that guy in town to print it for me.
All right. What guy in town?
Oh, I know people.
All right, okay.
Howdy, welcome to Breakdowns, the comic arts section of the podcast. My name is Pete Taylor. I'm a small press comics creator and illustrator, and online I trade as This Man, This Pete. Emergency episode this month. I had a few technical issues with the interview I was due to bring you this week. So, in light of the fact that we are being sponsored by Goof, I thought I'd look at funny comics. And after looking at my shelf and realising I don't actually currently read a lot of funny comics, my stack and shelves are largely nowadays full of crime and horror comics. It started to think of comics that I read back in the day. Funny comics came to mind: Scott Pilgrim, and Cerebus, and Bone, which are 3 of my absolute favourite comics. I've enjoyed them with my daughters in terms of Scott Pilgrim and Bone. But I think they kind of deserve an episode for themselves. You could do certainly a whole episode on Bone, Cerebus and Scott Pilgrim. So then I was thinking, what else was that? Well, She-Hulk, the original fourth wall breaker. Back in the day before Deadpool, it was She-Hulk who used to rip open the page and run across the adverts to get to another part. She would turn around and talk to John Byrne, who was writing and drawing the title at the time. So what would this be? Early to mid-90s? Next Wave, Agents of Hate, Warren Ellis and Stuart Immonen. But with this being an emergency episode, I didn't have time to read those, so I turned to the one funny comic I'm reading at the moment, which is I Hate Fairyland by Scotty Young, with colours by Jean-Francois Beaulieu, and letters by Nate Picos of Blambot. Scotty Young is the writer and artist. It's his first, I think, creator-owned title for Image. And it is definitely brings together all that he is as best at. I was kind of first... I knew Scotty through the variants. I mean, a lot of the Marvel baby sort of variant covers that he does. I'm sure probably most people have seen at least a couple of examples of those. The main series that I read would be the first one would be the Wizard of Oz book series he did for Marvel, the hardback books, with the same colorist. And his artwork in that seemed to encapsulate that whole fantasy, strange, pumpkin-headed Munchkin world. The artwork for Fairyland really does pull in that direction as well. The idea behind the series is that there's a young girl called Gertrude, who starts the series as a normal, everyday, fairy-loving girl in her pink-clad, cuddly, toy-filled bedroom. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Gertrude who wished she could be taken away to an amazing world filled with wonder and magic and laughter and joy. And her wish comes true. She's sucked down into the world of Fairyland, but unfortunately lands with a bone-crushing crash. She's unable to really get to grips even with her guide, Larry the Fly. I'm never sure what Larry is. But the tale quickly turns to on its head, really, when it's revealed that the majority of this story is going to be told 27 years later, when an older, embittered Gert, still inhabiting the young girl body that she's had for this whole time, is trapped in Fairyland and is not taking it very well. The series then becomes almost, I suppose, a Terminator loose in Fairyland. She lets rip with every weapon at her disposal against the rest of the muffin-fluffing Fairyland characters. The dialogue's brilliant. Nate Picos does wonders with the lettering. It's full of what the fluffs and telling people to hug off. It's very tongue-in-cheek, but full of ultra-violence. Of course, with Scotty Young being the artist, the character designs and the storylines are just wonderful mashups of horror, science fiction tropes. Along the way, Gert meets zombie fawns. She meets the wonderfully over-the-top dungeon-dwelling Lord Darketh Dead Death, who, is so over-the-top drawn. He's got skulls on every inch of his body. She meets the Lints, which are a kind of horror version of dust bunnies under the bed, which kind of then turns into an alien homage. Characters along the way that get introduced: Gwag the Barbarian, the wonderfully over-the-top female Conan that Gert absolutely hero worships. Issue 12 features a wonderful samurai homage where she goes to the village of the Shiitake, which are mushroom-headed samurai. So the whole issue of that is a wonderful bit of martial arts adventure. And then one for other Image lovers. There was a I Hate Fairyland special edition. It was called, I think, I Hate Image when it was released on Free Comic Book Day. And now it came out as a special edition in itself. I suppose it's a bit like the kind of Marvel comics where Deadpool destroys the Marvel universe. In it, Gert arrives in the Image universe and works her way through Saga, Walking Dead, Paper Girls, pretty much all of the top Image titles, The Wicked and Divine. There's a brilliant bit of superhero Carnage in the middle, Spawn. So it's great. It looks wonderful. The characters are absolutely amazing. So at the moment, if you're want a bit of fantasy, comedy, gorgeous looking, ultra-violent adventure, then I recommend I Hate Fairyland. Thanks for listening. You can find me at thismanthispete on Instagram and Twitter. Email me at thismanthispete@gmail.com. My comics are available at thispete.bigcartel.com, and my website is thismanthispete.com.
Go. Hope you enjoyed them.
Yes.
Emma
Donnelly.
Emily Donnelly, who's
Donnelly. You can't even get it right.
What did I say?
You said Donahue then.
No, I didn't.
Did you not?
No, you're just deaf.
Probably with this cold.
Something we didn't mention before as well was obviously about the Goof comic, which you've heard the promo at the beginning because they're sponsoring this episode.
They are.
So make sure you click on the link.
Yes.
To get 2 months free.
Why? And who wouldn't?
It's only going to last a few weeks, so yeah, go check that out.
Absolutely.
Briefly before we talk about you.
Because that's what everyone wants to hear.
Cosplay is coming to Kendal. Just thought I'd give this a quick shout out.
Yes.
The Ruskins Bar, which the festival does a lot with, on Sunday the 15th of July in Kendal, 2:30pm till late, is having a cosplay
I have made
afternoon.
cat ears.
Is that it?
That's all I've got.
There's live music, there's circus and magic acts, face painting, food and dance.
Who doesn't? That sounds like a perfect day to me.
And I believe there's prizes to win the Lakes Festival tickets, I believe.
Oh. I can't win those.
Yeah, this year's Kendal Cosplay will offer 10 VIP passes for Lakes as prizes for the best cosplayers. And as I state on here, the major steampunk-inspired element being organised by Clockwork Watch team, led by Yommi and Corey. Then this year is the year to be cosplaying it up.
I think they're probably headhunting for cosplaying for October.
Talking of Yommi and Corey, at some point soon we'll be having a little chat with them about what we're going to be doing for their...
It's very, very exciting.
But private.
So did I hint too much then with what I said?
It's very exciting.
No, before that. Because I said they're probably headhunting.
I don't get it, so yes, it's not going anywhere, don't worry. Makes no sense. So, how did you find standing behind a table?
Completely nerve-wracking.
Okay.
And one of the worst experiences of my life.
Brilliant.
No, I didn't. It was nerve-wracking. It took me a little bit to kind of like... I say hello to people, but then I get a bit flustered as to what do I say now to try and keep them here? Because you were better at that than me. You kind of like... I mean, I was surprised I didn't come back from like a break and just find you sellotaping people to chairs to keep them. Because, I mean, yeah, you're much more out there.
Well, if they stood at your table
then
and
I
showing
said, have a flick through my
bit
book.
of interest, then you got to tell them what the book's about.
Well, I did that. People kind of glazed over and wandered off, though, if I started trying to explain my book too much. So I kind of did that. Oh, do you want to flick through if you like and have a look at it? So I kind of did that way. And then if people paused long enough, then I could kind of go, it's my first one, be nice, which was my whole plan on like, give them a sweet, tell them that it's your first one, which it was, and that I was incredibly nervous and hope they took sympathy on me and bought a comic out of sympathy.
That's not the way to feel. You should be buying a comic out of
they did.
desire.
I mean, everyone, I had a lot of positive comments. Mm-hmm. In fact, apart from one woman who said, oh, it's so sad, and then wandered off.
Yeah, well,
I was like,
she was buying nothing.
You didn't get it. Because then I suddenly thought that one of my prints did look like death, which it isn't. It's a metaphor. But you need to have a flick.
But someone bought that to go in the children's bedroom.
Someone bought that one. we won't talk about that.
So what?
No, it's nice enough to go in a bedroom.
No, it is. It's lovely. What have you learnt, do you feel, from the event?
Just to talk to people.
Mhm.
No one's going to be horrible to you.
No.
I mean, a lot of people were like, some of them were like, well, how do you feel? Do you feel that your comic is putting words into people's minds about how they should feel about anxiety? So you have to be able to feel
Then you say
those
there's no
kinds
words.
of questions. You know what I mean? I did say that, actually.
There's no words in this.
So you have to be able to feel that kind of people's questions,
Mhm.
and then just general, the Bible talks to me, please look at my scribblings. I had that. In which case you just smile and carry on, because that's kind of how you do it. I mean, all these people that were slightly odd or slightly challenging didn't buy anything.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Mainly
a
it
lot
was
of
people who
people
just went-
walking through who weren't ever going to possibly
No.
buy comics.
No, it was
But-
mainly men that were quite confrontational
Mm.
in some of the questioning, whereas women kind of got it more.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a really good learning
But it's
experience, and I didn't
opening
find
up-
it a bad experience.
It's opening up comics to these people as well, who don't understand.
Yeah, well, we
comics.
spoke to your aunt afterwards,
Yeah.
and she didn't get it because
What's
she
a
thought, what's a comic? It should be funny, it should be like the Beano, which, yeah, I mean, people are going to think that way as well, aren't they?
Mm.
So you have to break down those extra boundaries. So it's all a learning experience, and I found it very, very useful.
What will you do differently? Anything in particular?
Possibly hire a band.
Okay.
Yeah, a mariachi band to play behind me.
Okay.
Yeah,
They want to
yes.
fit.
To the side. I think that, or maybe some fire jugglers.
Mhm.
But otherwise, I think I'll just carry on as I am.
Okay.
Mm.
More products, obviously.
More products, yeah.
Which always
More
helps.
stuff that you could throw at people, the better. So definitely more key rings, which haven't got like, there was a lot of kids.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking appeal to families, unicorns and kittens.
Yeah.
So that's my next plan.
Okay, unicorns and kittens.
Yeah. Know your audience, I guess.
The problem is, though, do you know your audience?
No.
As in, you can't guess your audience
No.
in some cases.
So I suppose you're trying to like spread yourself a bit thinner and
Mhm.
try and like cater to a lot more, but does that then dilute your brand? You know, it's hard, but it was interesting.
That's what. Yeah, this is what we've got to learn.
So sorry.
You also had another review of your comic.
Have I? Oh no, yes, I don't say that, because
Have I?
I've read a couple, but I always get a bit worried.
Alex from Panic Dream Comics.
Oh, lovely
has said a
review.
really nice review.
Yeah.
She tells her story in a wordless, panelless series of simple cartoons, which gives the book an added feeling of intimacy.
There you go.
It's
You get intimate with me. Come and be intimate.
Talking of that, and
Mm.
just talking of your blog, you had a email just come
I
through
did.
just before we recorded,
I did indeed. I have replied.
which was quite interesting because it sort of asks a question. You know, we've talked about on your blog post about how people can just sometimes walk past,
Yes.
and not really show any sort of interest,
Mhm.
or you know, in the stands as you're walking around, and we've all done it. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We've all
Oh,
sort of
yeah,
walked
no, we've
around. I mean, I try to, if the person behind the desk is showing like they're interested,
Mhm.
always say hello and you know, have an interesting look at the work. You might necessarily not going to buy,
Yeah. Yeah, but pause.
but
and
show an interest. Yeah. It's when people are stood or sat not showing any interest whatsoever.
If they're just on their phone or enclosed in their own little...
Yeah.
You're at the end of the day, you're there to sell.
So it was,
Aren't you?
was it Rogers?
Norman,
sorry. His question was about how should I interact
Yes.
with people
Yes.
as I'm walking around, you know.
Yeah.
And I think the best thing is just do it.
Yeah.
If they're showing
Well,
an
it's right.
interest.
Say some people look so bored I don't want
Yeah.
to talk to them.
Well, in that case,
that's
fine.
true. Yeah, no, don't.
Don't bother.
Because
Why?
if you're on the other side of the table, you want people to buy, so you want to come across friendly, enticing. You're
Like,
trying
you've
to
got to
bring
pretend
them
like
over.
you are a shop. You are a small
Basically,
shop.
yeah.
So you are a small shopkeeper. You are a small salesperson.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know, and you've got to
Yeah.
be trying to sell your wares, whatever they are.
That's
Comics.
it. Surely
Funko
you want
Pops,
to be
whatever.
there, don't you?
Well, that's the point.
You know, so if you want to be there, then, you know, and
I
it
think-
may be after 6 hours you're feeling a bit...
Oh, yeah.
But no, you still smile and you still carry on.
I think sometimes maybe creators need to take some time off. Maybe if they're getting to the point where I've had enough of this convention thing. And I can understand because it's tiring.
Oh God, yeah, it is tiring.
But
I had a headache afterwards.
As a customer, I think if anyone shows, if that person is selling is showing interest in you, just give them a little bit back, and don't feel bad about not buying.
No,
because you don't have to buy.
Oh no, you're not. We're not holding them.
No,
at gunpoint. Buy Mac. I was. Please buy it. This is my first go.
But no, you don't have to buy because we don't buy everything, so you don't have to buy.
No,
it's
that's
not
it.
about
You
that.
might not know if you like it unless you flick through it. You might flick through it and go, well, it's lovely artwork, but it doesn't talk to me.
Yeah,
and that's
card.
fine.
Take a business card.
Yeah, a lot of people take business cards.
You can have a look at the person's work and get an idea if that thing's for you, and then you can buy it online, or the next time you see him, you can go and grab it. But
well, that's it.
At the end of the day, we've only got so much money we can spend.
Yeah,
you want to spend it on what you are going to like.
I was appreciative of anyone that would part with their hard-earned cash to buy something that I'd made, and I was amazed at every sale that someone would want something that I'd done. So I was very thankful. So I hope I don't get jaded with fame. I'm sure it won't happen. It could happen, of course. No, I'll be fine. I'll always be down to earth.
You are working on your next book, however.
Sorry, what, where, when?
You are working on your next book.
I am. I'm 5 pages in. I think that's pretty good for me.
Well, you say that. You're 5 pages in the art. We haven't done no wording or anything yet, which is going to take time. It's not going to be a quick one.
It's all about the art.
It's all about the art, of course. What's it called?
It's called Pika and Cloud, or Cloud and Pika. I haven't quite decided.
Ooh.
Tale of Two Kitties. I quite like that one because
well,
it sounds like a tale of two cities, you see.
Well, yeah, I think we got that. I think everyone got that.
Yeah, all right. Well, it made me chuckle.
I'll do my version, A Tale of Two. Anyway, let's keep walking, moving on.
You're terrible. So it's about...
So, go on.
No, carry on. You're going to talk over me again. You carry on there. Yeah, whatever. So basically, 8 years ago, I got 2 kittens. And it's I got them because I was at a very lonely part of my life. And they kind of provided company for me during the day. So I thought, right, let's do this. And cats sell, let's be honest.
Yes. Bring the people to the table for the cats.
Come over and see the cats.
Walk away with the book all about pain.
It's not about pain. It's going to be a lovely, sensitive book, kind of in the same style as Anxiety Me.
Well, watercolour. I wouldn't say the same style.
It's the same style. If you think about it, if you look at the person that's me, it looks like an older version of the guy. Just saying. So it's in the same type of style, but with words this time. And it is the life of my 2 cats up until obviously Cloud died last year. And Cloud was always my cat. He was my little fluffy rock. So that's the sad part of it. But I've still got Pika, his sister, so it carries on. So and shows the relationship, because me and Pika, I don't know if she's a female cat or Cloud was such a dominant personality, but she was always slightly in the shadow of Cloud, and now she's coming to her own. And it's a noisy little mare.
So that'll be hopefully available by the Lakes.
It will be.
Festival.
Because I will make sure it will be.
Okay, so there you go. Another one to Bert Jay's.
Yes. Come
and say hello.
buy the cats.
Next episode is a special episode.
Hello with the specials.
We've already done the interview for the next episode.
Which was great once we told the kids to not be on the internet.
Yes. We've interviewed Ian Rankin, the crime novelist, and it was quite nerve-wracking.
It was really nerve-wracking.
But we'll talk a bit more about that next episode. So he will be on the show. Mm-hmm. And we're going to do a crime-based episode as well. So Pete and Mike will also be looking and reviewing crime books, as well as we will also be.
Are we going to be doing this lying on the floor with like a chalk outline around us?
No.
Oh. Damn it. I was looking forward to that.
How would that benefit?
It would benefit me. It'd be
Only podcast.
Oh, okay. Oh, we'll just say we are.
Okay.
And then we've got to put that image into people's minds.
We're also...
I think my cold relief is going to my head.
Oh, dear. We'll also be doing a prize competition as well next episode.
We love prizes.
So listen out for a competition.
Yeah.
You've got to be listening
to... Well, we're going to put like a secret word in.
Winning it. I don't know. We'll work it out.
Like a secret thing.
I've not even thought about that bit yet.
Oh.
And I'm also thinking of doing a little Twitter competition to win a copy of your comic as well, maybe. We'll have to think about that.
Oh, the lucky people.
Yes, I know. So make sure if you're interested in that, follow Nikki
follow me, yeah.
on Twitter.
Yeah, follow me.
And then
I occasionally go on there and tweet random things. Sometimes about rum.
Yeah.
It was rum in my cold last time.
So thank you for listening. Check out Goof Comics as well. Go on their website. Enjoy. And we'll be back with Ian Ranking on the 15th of July, which is quite scary still. Oh, quickly as well, Sean Phillips, new book, been announced. Make sure you go and check it out.
Oh, yes,
Coming
definitely.
out in October.
Yes. I'm sure Sean will send me a copy.
Yes.
Because he's my other best friend.
And signed and
signed
drawn
with a little
and
picture in
everything.
it. Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you in a few weeks. Cheerio.
Bye. Thank you for listening. Find out more about the festival at comicartfestival.com. Find out more about the show and how to contact us at comicartpodcast.uk. Find us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Music composed by Pop Noir.
This podcast is part of Britpod Scene, an independent network of uniquely British podcasts that's always growing. Check out BritpodScene.com or Britpod Scene on Twitter to find out more.